couple of cases to do with Oldham, where I live, and it highlights the amount of bad people getting into the country. A lot of people are nice who come here from the EU, Romanians. I work with all these kind of people, but in Oldham is some of the highest Romanian immigration in the country that's coming to Oldham, which is causing problems because we're getting the bad apples coming in. And a particular case in Oldham that came up over the past couple of weeks was an elderly woman was taking a grandchild who were in a pram, and she was going to the local shops, and she got jumped off two, well, she said, Eastern European women. And they tried to grab the pram, which had bags on, and they tried to take her stuff off her. And when she put this on Facebook, warning people in the local area, next thing, she got 5 policemen at her door, telling her to take the post down. Now, the local community I know well, because it's a part of Oldham, and I know the people there, they've identified the group of Romanians involved, but still the police are not doing nothing. And again, the majority of them do work, but with the EU and the freedom of movement and all that, we're getting these bad apples in. And it's continuing across Oldham, this, not just that. GMP said a few statements over the past couple of years about rising crime to do with distraction theft, handbag theft and stuff like this, is due to this increase of EU people coming to Oldham. The local community in that area wanted to do their own justice, right? And a few people, me included, said, no, that's not the way to do it right now. It's not the way to do it. We need to put pressure on the police. So the local community in Limeside, in Oldham, they're going to approach the local councillor and then try and put pressure like that onto the police. Again, similar cases in Haywood, in the Rochdale area. This is where the 3 girls scandal started. And I've been there twice now in the past month. And on the first incident, 3 14-year-olds were attacked outside of a shop in a vigilante-style attack. And we related it to the shop owners. And when this was brought attention to the police, they said, we're not going to do nothing because the young lads were racist. But still, that doesn't mean that you do a vigilante-style attack on children. And these were only 3 14-year-olds. And it happened twice on that particular evening. So the police weren't going to do nothing, so we organised a flash demo on the following week. We put notes on Facebook so that police could see it. They said they'd monitor it. And then when we come to do the flash demo, the police turned up. We also turned up with 2 of the mothers of the children and a lot of the friends and that, and we put pressure on the police to start an investigation. We had some CCTV footage of this. And again, in the same month, we've had another style attack like that in the same area. And this time, an axe was branded. A young 16-year-old lad was hit in the back of the back with a rubber mallet. And again, the police didn't want to really do nothing. The guy's father approached them, and the police was, well, can't we just say it was 1 of this and 2 of the other? But that wasn't good enough for that community. And I was upset because that's 2 attacks in a month. What happens on a 3rd attack? Does the kid get killed? Does the kid get killed on that 3rd attack? What happens? Does he have his fingers chopped off, or does he have an axe embedded in his arm or something like that?
Exactly.
So putting pressure on the local councillors and the police to do the job is what we've been doing. And we're going to try to continue this in this particular area. Immigration, it's out of control. It's that out of control that people are coming over the English Channel in rubber dinghies. If we had control of it, nobody would be coming over in rubber dinghies. And I mean, the English Channel to me has always been stated as a very dangerous stretch of water, one of the most dangerous stretches of water in the world. And still, we allow these immigrants to come over in rubber dinghies. I'm not bothered if France are letting them come through or anything like that. We should be stopping them. It's simple as. It's causing massive problems on us, and with Brexit coming up and us wanting to come out of the EU, it's a big issue now. when it never used to be. 10 years ago, I wasn't thinking about immigration with the EU, I was thinking of other things. But they've opened the doors that much now that it's uncontrollable. It's uncontrollable. Also, recently in Oldham, 7 people were rescued and under the Modern Day Slavery Act in Oldham. And I've looked at and researched certain cases, and the slavery doesn't come from a British citizen. It comes from people like EU nationals, Hungarian, Romanian. These people are committing these acts. And also a few years ago there was a couple of Pakistani families involved in this kind of thing, this modern day slavery. It never used to be heard of 15 years ago. This never used to be heard of. And they've even made a group up to do with immigration, with slavery in 2015. And Gangmasters and Labour Abuse Authority, and that's in Manchester. And they only made that in 2015, but some of the cases I looked at go back to 2000 or earlier. So these issues are big. They're big in Oldham, and no doubt they're big across the country. Going back to the vigilante style attacks, we held one flash demo to put pressure on the police. It looks like we might be holding another. But this is in the Haywood area of Rochdale, and what a lot of people don't know is this is where the 3 girls grooming scandal started, the town of Haywood. Not particularly the town of Rochdale, it started in Haywood. But the authorities and everyone else point out to be Rochdale, even though it's part of the borough. And I've had information that this kind of thing is still going on in Haywood. And we're just not having it. We're just not having it in our country. This, and we need to do something against this, seriously. I were angry the other night, and I did a live stream, because I'm expecting the next time there's a vigilante style attack, some kid's going to get murdered. Or run over or something like that. And is that how far we have to go before we do something about it?
We get
before
attention.
The local community stands up and does something. It's just not good enough. It should be stamped out on the first case. The second case of the vigilante style attacks is an Iraqi-owned pound shop. And they've already had trouble with these guys for the past couple of years. Immigration have been there to take illegal immigrants out. Customs and Excise have been there because of selling dodgy goods under the counter. And last year, counter-terrorism were brought in because the guys in the shop were showing pictures of them in the desert with an ISIS flag showing weapons, rocket launchers, rifles, machine guns and stuff like this. And they were showing these pictures to youngsters, 15-year-old kids, trying to maybe look bad or hard or something like that. They got reported, but counter-terrorism went in, but no one's been arrested or anything like that. We need more control on stuff like this. And I just dread what's going to happen on the next attack, what's going to happen on the next incident. It really does look like someone's going to lose a life. And it's just not good enough. We need to put pressure on the police, our local communities to stand up. In Haywood, we have got some support of the local community, and we're attempting to get the local councillor to put pressure on her. And normally we might go into a town and we're from out of that town. We can't vote against the local council because we don't live there. But these people do live there, and they have got a voice on their votes. And I've told them to just directly threaten that local councillor that she's going to lose votes or he's going to lose votes. To put pressure on them to make sure something gets done. Whether a Labour councillor or Conservative councillor, they'll have to listen to their community and they'll have to do something. Haywood, the particular community I'm talking about, is a pretty robust, strong community. But they was thinking of, again, of doing their own kind of justice. And right now, it's not the kind of thing we need to be following down that road. we need to put pressure on the councillors and the police.
To do the job.
20 years ago, when I was 30, I might have thought of doing that, my own justice. But now I'm 51, I'm more involved in the cause, I understand the total and all the picture, and that's not the right thing to do. It's definitely not the right thing to do. So we're going to carry on putting pressure on local councillors, the police, holding flash demos so that they have to come out and face us. The BBC were there last time, but I politely told them to F off and that they were fake news. They went, but I'm now thinking of taking an interview with them. I know my facts and figures. I can talk straight. I can talk without being aggressive. I can talk without being threatening. And maybe a talk or a view of someone like me from that area might help a bit better, and they may even put some kind of footage up.
Legitimate view, yeah.
But we're going to put more pressure on them, and the BBC will want to talk to people, especially in them communities. So we're going to keep pushing that and keep pushing it. As Paul said,
last night, I just cut across you. Did you?
Hold on, so keep all questions to the end, please.
Right,
Try not to interrupt the speakers. Thank you.
We'll come back to that. As Paul says, we're going to be working hard with Britain First, doing activities and demos as much as we can. Obviously not telling the police to turn up in the town, handing leaflets out and all that lot. I've got 10,000 specifically for the Manchester area, and soon we'll be looking at starting there. And going forward, I've got them for all summer, and I'm going to keep pushing these issues on people. And on the flyer are all current issues to do with Manchester. Disbury Mosque, the tram system, which I've highlighted a few times how dangerous it is, and just recently there's been 3 people stabbed up on the tram tracks at Victoria Station. And we should have, and they put armed police out every now and then, but I think there should be armed police in them stations all the time, every day, 7 days a week. Next time someone's going to be pushed on tracks and killed or something like that. They're extending the tram system across Manchester. We're going to be going to other places. They're currently building a route to Trafford Centre, and I've said this a few times that the tram system is like the veins of a body. If you put something bad into the bloodstream, it just travels through them veins and pollutes everything in the area, which is doing in Greater Manchester. On my flyers as well, we've still got the grooming gang cases in Rochdale, and this grooming is still going on to this day. It might not be as much as what it was, but it's still going on to this day, and you'll find out that a lot of the cases are 10, 15 years old, and that's where I blame the Labour Council for the cover-ups and political correctness. I'm always going on about it on the streams and on the videos, and we need to cut this and bring it to a halt. I've been supporting a group called PAG UK, Parents Against Grooming, run by a guy called Billy Howarth, who was a victim of abuse himself, and several other members of the group are victims of abuse. The pressure they're under off that Rochdale Labour Council to shut them down is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's only because of people like me, Red Pill Phil, and social media that they're still going. And we need to support these little things. They've built up a drop-in shop in Rochdale, so we've been supporting that over the past few weeks. People have been donating stuff to them and all that. But the stories I hear of Billy, of the stuff the council's doing to discredit them, and these are people who've suffered from abuse who are running it, and the council are trying to discredit them all the time. The latest incident, a Labour council has come out and said, don't go down to the PAG UK shop, it's full of paedophiles and you're going to get raped. But all the people in it have been raped and have been abused. And this is the kind of thing we're getting off the Labour councillors in the north.
Liars.
I'll say this, and I'll say this a lot, I know there's been problems in other areas, but Oldham and Rochdale, the most politically correct places in England. In England there's no-go zones across all them towns, especially in the Muslim-dominated areas. And recently, in Alexandra Park in Oldham, there's been arrests. to do with abuse and grooming around that area. And this park's used by all members of the public in Oldham and stuff like that. And this has come off Billy because he also does like a neighbourhood watch kind of thing, and they go to areas and go around and make sure no one's getting in trouble or anything like that. And it's wrong. So I'm going to focus attacking Labour in Oldham, especially in Rochdale as well, as much as I can. And it's going to be my main focal point is the Labour cover-ups and political correctness to bring everybody out of what's going on. And that's about it. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Good job.
Well, we do questions and answers at the end, yeah? All right, thank you, John. Big round of applause for John.
Yeah, thank you, John.
One thing that Britain First has done, which I don't think any other political party or movement does on a regular basis, is that our activists who are out there on the front line facing danger, facing hostility, facing abuse, all around the country, in some of the worst towns, places like Bradford or Birmingham, just you name it, we've been there over the years. And we like to recognise the dedication and the bravery of our activists. And we like to do it in our own special little way. And I've got some activists who are here today that I would like to recognise their contribution to our movement, because without this, all this movement is our activist base. And they have been in towns and cities all across this country, you know, staring danger and hostility in the face. One thing we like to see from our activists is attendance. Yeah, we've seen a lot of our activists here today. We had a good turnout today, and we completely dominated Northampton Town Centre. Pretty much for hours and hours, we dominated it with our music, with our presence, with our rosettes, everything. You know, if you went to Northampton today, you would have bumped into Britain First. And we're going to be in the local newspaper. We're going to be the talk of the town. There's going to be leaflets, thousands of them, crisscrossing that town. That's how to make an impact. There's nothing that anyone did today, like if you hold a big march or a big protest, you'll end up with the hooligans turning up or the beer guzzling EDL types turning up, and it just descends into farce. We don't operate like that. Yeah? When we go there, we try to present the best of British. Yeah? Every one of us, I hope, is a gentleman or a lady. That's the way we like to present ourselves to the world. When people see Britain First, when they interact with us, when they see our literature, they see us on the streets, they can, you know, it's something that they would like to get involved in or that they can support. Okay? So the one thing we like to see from activists is attendance. And there's only a handful of people in this movement that attend like clockwork. Reliability, yeah? I know there's only a handful of people in this movement I can ring up at any time, anywhere, and say, please can you come and do this with me, or that, or the other, come to this, that, provide security, and they will drop everything and they will come. Month after month, year after year. Bravery, because we do get in some right jams in some places. We would go, you know, whether it's with the police, whether it's with Muslim extremists, hostile leftists, we've been to places like Bradford and so on, and it's things have got really crazy and out of control. We've been through East London, Brick Lane, we've been in some real jams over the years. Loyalty, just loyalty to this movement, second to none. Dedication, just being there all the time, committing themselves to this movement, which is the only movement really that's active all across the country, that's growing, branches being set up, activists coming on board. There's at least half this audience I haven't worked. Near on half this audience I've never even met before. Selflessness. That's a real good quality you need in a patriot. The ability for them to forget about their own needs and their own wants and to dedicate themselves to the cause. The cause comes first. Yeah? And decency as well. I know a lot of patriots who just aren't decent people. I've seen a lot of them over the years, and they're just terrible representatives of our movement, of our cause. Yeah? And we try to have nothing to do with them. The people we've got in this room here, and the people I have at my side all the time, I have there at my side or on activities with me because I know they are decent human beings. They're decent they're decent Brits, whether they're men or women. Okay? So I'd like to, in our own little way, just represent the bravery, the commitment, the dedication of some of our activists. First person I'd like to come up. We've got these lovely Britain First medals made. Okay, you don't get one of these. These are a badge of honour for our movement. Okay, to get one of these, you need to be active for a very, very long time. You need to be in the trenches. You need to have proved your worth, your worth to this movement. First person I'd like to come up is from the Midlands. I'd like Paul Rudge to come up to the front, please.
Yeah.
Well, have a surprise. My hand.
Well earned. Well earned too. Hey!
Paul has been around for several years now. You've seen him every single week. He never lets me down. He looks after a lot of our equipment. He's standing as an election candidate in the forthcoming local elections. He's a real stalwart of this movement, so please give him a big round of applause. The second person I'd like to come up to the front is a good friend of mine and another activist from the Midlands, Simon Mayhew Sanders. Big round of applause, everyone. Again, Simon is brave, he's dependable, he's reliable, and he's attended hundreds of our activities. He's always there. He's, a rock that I can lean on as leader of this movement. So please, just one big round of applause for Simon.
Yeah.
The next person I'd like to come up has been around for a very long time, and I think he's only missed one activity that I can think of. And you all know this man, you've seen him in all the photos and the videos. He's always the one walking around dressed as an English crusader. So please come to the front, David. Something like that. There we go. Big round of applause. The next activist I'd like to come up. This man is an absolute backbone of our branch over in Northern Ireland, who are relentlessly active, week in, week out. He's a personal friend of mine. He's really been there for me when I've been in several scrapes and with the police and the PSNI over in Belfast. He's a good friend. Please come to the front, Andrew Brown. Big round of applause for him.